It's good to be here with Goothala. I'm Andrea from First Door, and we're chatting about the need for better understanding of Aboriginal people's ways.
Indeed.
And that when we think back 12 years ago, when I arrived in Brisbane as an early childhood educator, there was no understanding.
Very little anyway.
From my perspective, I found it very hard to find any knowledge or where to go to, any language. So it was a bit of a shock, and then the apology came, the sorry.
Well, no, it's an apology, it's not sorry at all. We said sorry a lot, and we still call it sorry. Yeah, they were very clever with their words. They know exactly what they're doing and what they said and why they say it. So it's a national apology. There's no guilt, shame or anything attached to an apology. There's just an acknowledgement.
An acknowledgement of a wrongdoing.
Indeed.
Which it was. So we're going to spend some time kind of unpacking the history over time of Aboriginal people's ways being lost, being sabotaged by the government, which had really long-lasting impact and has now presented the government with all of the issues as a result of its actions. And in early childhood, educators are very responsible for encouraging respect for our First Peoples Way and teaching young children all the beautiful parts of the Aboriginal culture, respecting Mother Earth, being connected to nature.
Yeah. So you said something at the start. You said very little. Very little is known, and this little bit of knowledge, people are going to take and say, hey, I have this knowledge now, and I'm going to use it to push my agendas, my intentions, whatever that may be, without actually assessing themselves and seeing whether that knowledge is useful and beneficial, not only to themselves, but to everybody involved and concerned.
Yeah. So this little bit of knowledge that we'll be sharing today can be used as a very beginning, isn't it? It's like a seed opening, and we need to keep investing and keep learning, keep checking what we know, keep building relationships with Aboriginal peoples and learning deeper.
Yeah, well, the more you get this bit of knowledge, it's like getting a little bit of knowledge about yourself. We might perceive that, hey, I've just received some knowledge that I am a boy, and you are a girl. So now I have to go and do that research and find out, well, for myself, what's a boy?
What does that mean?
What does that mean? And how does a boy behave and act? And now I've got to look at all the society acceptance, what is acceptable for society, what's acceptable for my parents who have told me that I'm a boy, and then what is acceptable for me as I grow older.
Absolutely. And in the same way with Aboriginal people, one place, one language group, you might get to know those people's ways a little bit, what's shared for you, but then a different family from a different area will come and it's a whole different way and a whole different language. So it's a complicated thing to try and get our head around.
Yep. Well, one of the processes that we had, and whether or not we have that to this very day is questionable, but it took a community to raise a child. And we would pass them around to everyone in the family and extended family as well. Many times our children are given to the old people, to our grandparents, what we call grandparents these days. A lot of times through the cultural system is that my grandparents are the brothers and sisters of my children. And then they're there sharing their knowledge and their ways of being, doing and becoming with my children as they grow up. And then they have to come back to me, of course. with the full knowledge of who their real parents are. Well, they go through that.
So shared decision making, shared parenting.
Well, in fact, if you look at our cultural processes and practices, all decision making and power was a collective and was shared. There was like not one person that was the king or the queen, which confuses the hell out of the invaders who came to this country then and the so-called discovered it and all that colonisation that took place after that. That's actually one of the knowledges they discovered or they became aware of that helped them take over. Because we shared everything, share a collective power. And they needed a king or a queen or somebody, an elder, so to speak, that they could actually just find someone responsible for a whole nation.
To dominate rather than collaborate.
Absolutely. Yeah, good thinking.
So let's start. We'll go through a bit of the history together and look back over time of the original connection to land and spirit and self and kinship, community, and what happened as a result of being invaded.
Indeed.